had a tough conversation with a client recently where they were worried about fitting in a certain size of clothing because they said, Mauro, when I was overweight, I was that number. And now I don't want to fit in that anymore. I'm getting worried. But the same client admitted that they seen a big change. They measured a smaller body fat percentage, for example. They've noticed an increase in the glutes that they wanted to increase. But they went back to that same store and they wanted to fit in a specific item, and all of a sudden it was a problem. Think about that. Some person in LA or New York or Milan or Paris was sitting at a drawing board and they designed a piece of clothing and they cut it a certain way and they fit it on a mannequin, and now you're measuring yourself against that. How often have you gone from one store to the next and been two different sizes? One shoe to the next and been different sizes. So if we're using clothing fit as a measuring tool, we need to use the same clothing, the exact same pair of jeans, for example, the exact same shirt, the exact same dress. Because from season to season, the cuts change, the styles change, the designers change. So if you're using that as a measuring tool, you have to be careful and use the exact same one. Even within the same store, there's this difference in the measurements. And if we're looking at some made up number that somebody created for this clothing, then we have a problem inherent. If you want to measure change, yes, clothing is a great thing. I love saying, hey, are your clothes fitting better? But it's the same clothes. And maybe, yes, you can get into a smaller size of the same clothing you normally get. Sure. But we have to be careful because, as I said, seasons and designers change and the cuts change. So they're going to fit different. So many athletic males can tell me now that they have a hard time finding pants. And some athletic females for that matter. And why is that? Because the waist is smaller and the legs are more muscular, or they've grown their glutes or whatever, and it pulls the clothing in different ways and creates this feeling that it's bigger, although there's so much space in the waist, for example. Or the shirts, they're fitting, it's looser here, but maybe it's fitting differently up here now. We can't use that as a measurement. We can't pick a designer and say, I want to fit that. It's like saying, I want to look like that person. I want to have that body type. It's not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to create that. If you wanted that, you had to go back in time before your parents met and make sure two different parents met to get the genes and the genetics that you wanted to have an outcome with. But speaking of genes, stop worrying about a specific designer, specific size. Use the same pair of clothing that you've had for a long period of time and measure changes in that, the same bathing suit, the same pair of jeans, the same shirt or dress, or suit for that matter, and look for change in that. Don't worry about a specific brand, specific designer, whatever it is, because they're not designing it for you and your body type. So why are you worrying about their stuff?